let's talk Dark Pictures, Little Hope. Howdy, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Steve, I'm from Australia, g'day. And I love all things tech and gaming, so you'll find that stuff on my channel. So hit the like, bell, and subscribe if you want to get notified next time I upload a video. But let's get into the reason why you're here. Back in 2015, Supermassive Games released a game called Until Dawn, which is an interactive horror video game. So instead of yelling at the screen, telling actors what to do when they're being chased by some token masked slasher guy, like you do in every horror movie, you're the one that's actually in control. A lot of the choices that you make within the game actually have consequences as the story unfolds. Until Dawn is still one of my favorite horror games of all time. After the success of that game, the Dark Pictures Anthology was born. This would see Supermassive Games releasing shorter games, but also more often. This kicked off in 2019 with the release of Man of Medan, and the setting involved a broken down boat and a ghost ship. It didn't recreate any of the magic from Until Dawn. So when they announced Little Hope for this year's entry into the series, showed a lot more promise, with the setting going from a muddy, murky ghost ship to a creepy abandoned town encased in fog, naturally, that's entrenched with a deep history involving witch trials. And anything to do with witches? I'm there. So, do Supermassive Games reclaim their horror crown? No. And it's such a shame. After an okay opening to the actual game, it decides to go at a snail's pace. So 80% of the time you're just sitting there listening to dialogue, watching it play out on screen, just waiting till you can actually hit that button again. When it's finally time to start taking control, you might walk for 10 steps and then it's dialogue again. It was driving me bananas. When you do interact with the game, you make dialogue choices which affect your relationships with the fellow cast, which is fine. But some of the writing was that bad that the characters just repeated what other characters were saying, and I don't know if that was like a goof up in how the game pieces the dialogue together, but it just felt disjointed. Another element that took me out of the game is you might be walking around the inside of a building, for example, and see massive doors that are clearly going to be an exit, but the little interaction prompt is not on the door yet. You have to figure out who you need to speak to first to then have the prompt there. If you're going to do a situation like that where you can't interact with the door to exit, then have the door locked so you know you've got to come back to it later. Don't just have the game decide, oh, now we're going to let you interact with this thing. I know I've hated on this game so far to date. This is a horror game after all, and there definitely is some jump scares in it and some creepiness, which is great. But they ruined it by literally having the same jump scare tactic throughout the entire game. It became eye-rolling in the end, and not executed in a clever way. It just felt very, very lazy. And as the 4.5 to 5 hour story played out, it became more and more confusing. But as you start to learn the history of the town with the witch trials and the connection to what you're experiencing in the present day, I didn't mind that concept, and I was curious to see where it was going to go. But that ending, I nearly threw my controller at the screen. I'm not going to say anything about what happened, but after the initial I did start to think about it. I started to warm to it a little bit more, but we've seen this stuff before. For a non-full price game, and if you like horror games, it's definitely worth a look, but have your expectations quite low. I did find it better than Man of Medan, but I just wish there was way more to it. Less dialogue, more interactivity, different interactive options as well. There's a hell of a lot more you could do in Until Dawn, which they have not brought back to these games. Better writing and a less confusing story would have really tightened this game up. Just make it a simple slasher interactive video game. Until Dawn 2 perhaps. So overall, probably a 6 out of 10 from me. Have you played Until Dawn, Man of Medan, or have you actually played Little Hope? What did you think about them? What horror genre would you like to see them tackle next? And what's your favorite scary movie? So thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.